Hi there and welcome to another Coffee with Colm, and the idea behind these Coffees with Colm is for me to explore elements of my business journey, which I've chronicled in the book Feeding Johnny, How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks. It's to explore elements of those on a weekly basis, take snippets, discuss them, tell you a little story, relate the lessons that I learned through those stories to you in the hopes that in your business journey that they can add value and perhaps present you with an idea that will give you an aha moment, give you a shortcut perhaps where back in the day I didn't have any. And if you enjoy the series, if you enjoy this particular Coffee with Colm, feel free to pop a comment in the box below the video. Indeed, if you think somebody else might benefit from it, I'd love if you would consider sharing the blog out to people, privately or publicly, entirely up to you. If you think it's of benefit, please do that. I'd appreciate it. And if you hold tight, we'll talk about the topic for this week. And the topic for this week is around problems, the inevitability of problems in your business. Last time I spoke about a problem to do with HR. This time I'm going to talk to you about a problem to do with simply running the business. Hold fire for the lesson. Thanks. Okay, let me tell you a quick story about one of the early problems we had in our business this week and last. I'm talking about the inevitability of problems. You're going to have problems in your business whether you like it or not, and almost no matter what you do, you're going to have problems. Some of those problems will come from the outside, and you won't have had any influence on them because they'll be outside your control. And that's what happened one particular morning. I was back in the early days doing all the early deliveries to Cork every morning. That was part of my job, and I used to drive to Cork every morning, do my deliveries, and get back in time to do what I considered was my real job, which was working on my business and not in my business. But in those early years I had to do both. I had to work in my business first and then work on my business. This particular morning I was travelling about 100 kilometres an hour at a bend in the N21 where the Blarney Road intersects with it. And as I rounded the bend in the outer lane to allow for traffic coming in on the inner lane, I all of a sudden hit something. All of a sudden, and the van began to shudder and shake. I had no idea what went on. I probably cursed, I know I prayed, and I shuddered the van across through very heavy traffic, 7:45 in the morning, in the dark, to the hard shoulder, and realised as I got to the hard shoulder there were quite a number of cars and vans in the hard shoulder for some strange reason. Only when I stopped I realised they'd all had the same problem. All of us hit a spare wheel. Somebody earlier in the morning had been carrying some spare wheels in a trailer. One of them bounced out into the middle of the fast lane, and all of us had hit that same wheel, and all of us had suffered blowouts, and all of us managed, thankfully, to navigate safely across the slow lane and into the hard shoulder. My problems, however, weren't over because I had 2,000 lunches in the back of the van. So a flurry of phone calls happened, found a repair truck, he came out, great guy, and he got me up and running, but I was about an hour behind time, and that was a real problem because Johnny must be fed and Johnny must be fed on time. So once the van got back up and running, I flew around my route. I normally would collect the empty trays as I delivered the new full ones for the day. Didn't that particular morning. Dropped all the lunches, school by school by school. Got to the very end, about 15 minutes before Suspiug, which is the deadline, and caught my breath, probably shed a tear because of the shock, and then wound my way back, picked up the empties and went back up the N21 to Limerick. Thankful that I was alive and thankful that Johnny got fed. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that particular story called Blowout from my book Feeding Johnny. The lessons therein include the fact that problems are a fact of life. Problems are a fact of life. They're going to happen. The only people that don't have problems, regrettably, are pushing up daisies. They're 6 feet under. The rest of us, if we're alive at all, we have problems. And some of them, including what happened to me on that particular morning, are beyond our control, entirely beyond our control. The secret, I believe, is being absolutely resolute in your commitment to feed Johnny. Now, in our case, feeding Johnny means we feed children. Specifically, we literally feed Johnny and Mary. In your case, I've no idea what feed Johnny means, but it means you doing the job that you set out to do regardless of problems, regardless of the circumstances that you find yourself in. So if you're resolute in your desire to feed Johnny, whatever that means in your business, well then you'll see these problems coming down the track, you'll simply handle them, get past them and move on. Happy ending to this particular story is that nobody died. Quite literally on that morning somebody could have died. I mean, it was horrendous. 9 vehicles, somebody could have died. I'm absolutely amazed that nobody was injured or nobody died that particular morning. So that was one of the happy endings. The second happy ending, of course, was that Johnny did get fed. He got fed before Suspiug, before Little Break, a little later than usual, but he got fed, so I was happy with that. But in the scheme of things, do you know what? We're still allowed to tell the story. So I wish you well this week, and hold tight for the last couple of minutes of the presentation. Thanks. So once again, thanks for joining me for a coffee with Colm around a particular topic. If you related to this particular topic and you enjoyed the story and the lessons therein, feel free to leave a comment in the box below the video. If you'd like more of this type of stuff, pop over to the homepage, ColmO'BrienMotivation.com. Fill in your details there. We'll send you stuff of this nature on a regular basis if you're not already on a database. And if you think somebody else might benefit, well then please feel free, be my guest, feel free to share this particular blog post with anybody, privately or publicly, entirely up to you. Most importantly then, bear in mind the lessons from this particular Coffee with Colm, apply them into your journey in the next week, and then come back next week and let's have another coffee together and talk about some other aspect of business. So in the meantime, cheers, have a great week, go out there and do your thing. Oh, top class. Talk to you soon, have a great week. Bye.